I think we have challenges we are there. Mr. Ubani, let me just come to you with this question. Well, the president talked about 40 cases in court, and they have not been dispensed with. The governor will be resuming. Now, what is likely to be the fate of things when these rulings are given, challenging the state of emergency and the policies, the appointments, and the election, local government election conducted by the solar restriction, if it becomes a negative against that emergency?
Well, thank you for having me. I don't know whether the courts will want to go ahead with all the cases that have been filed with regards to the emergency rule, because the court deals with what we call live cases. Live cases. Can you regard this particular matter now that has actually brought a return back the governor to back to power as a live case that will determine the court coming in to decide whether the emergency rule was unlawful and unconstitutional, because most of the grounds for which people went to court is to challenge the constitutionality of dismantling what you call the elected structures, of the state. And one court has to decide the issue of locus of those who have gone to court. The president mentioned 40 of them all. And then secondly, whether the court will want to go ahead in deciding those cases. So there is an argument that it may look like an academic exercise, but there are those who are insisting that the court must go ahead in order to determine the constitutionality for future reference, because we don't want a situation where you impose an emergency in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and there is no express provision that gives the president the power to dismantle. He can only rely maybe on what you call political precedent and not on judicial, because there is no authority in law that actually authorizes him to dismantle what you call elected structures in the state in the course of imposing emergency rules in any state. But if you start from the history, remember 1962, yeah. The 1960 Constitution was tested with regards to emergency, and the then Prime Minister dismantled the elected structures in the Western region. That was the starting point. The military learned that and then really, used it to dismantle what we call elected structures in the subsequent coup d'etat that actually happened. Then in 2004, the former president Obasanjo experimented the issue of imposition of emergency rule and went ahead and dismantled elected structures in Plateau State and did it also in Ekiti State in 2006. Other subsequent presidents like Jonathan actually imposed emergency but never touched the structures of governance. He allowed it, but then there has been criticism that it wasn't effective in terms of insecurity that was the reason for all that. So every president has defined his position with regards to issue of emergency, starting from 1960 up to date. Obasanjo, as I said earlier, experimented it. And the reason is that, look, and of course, the current president also used it and said, look, if the political actors are the cause of the imposition of emergency, then the best thing is that they have been compromised. The best thing is to get them out of the system for the meantime in order to have peace restored and bring them back. That's the argument of those who have probably, rely on that school of thought. But there are those who say, look, let's keep on maintaining the elected structures because you cannot, through the back door, invalidate the mandate that has been given by the people. Right. And that is Jonathan's posture and all that. So we will look whether the court will want to interfere in this particular matter. And in the light of the fact that this man has resumed, it looks like an academic exercise. But there are those who say, well, the court must go ahead. And so we'll find out what the court will do in this circumstances.
All right, Mr. Ubani, let's take a look